Hello, hello, lovely people of both LinkedIn and YouTube. Happy Monday, everybody. For those of you who don't know yet, last couple of times we are streaming interview on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. So if you want to watch the replay, if you want to find past interviews so that you don't have to scroll through my news feed, you can just go to YouTube and you'll find probably last 10 interviews there or something like that. But before I go into too much random rambling, we have an amazing guest today with us, Chris. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. And maybe the best thing is just to let you introduce yourself to the audience a little bit.
Well, thank you very much for having me. My name is Chris Richards, as the little thing there says. I'm a mindset mentor for six-figure entrepreneurs, essentially looking to reach the next level of success. Kind of people who've got all the tools, who know the marketing, know the sales, but for some reason just can't quite break through the income levels that they're looking for. That's when they call me, and I help them, basically.
Okay, nice, short, sweet. Yeah, I like that. I like that. And cheers. What are you drinking?
Cheers. This is a concoction that my daughters love as well. It's orange and blackcurrant.
Oh, okay. You know what? The title of this show is Coffee Chat with Micha, and I always forget to make myself coffee or tea, or even because, for me, it's 9:30 p.m. I could have a beer or two while we're having the interview, but I always somehow forget. But Chris,
you should. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, I do have to. Chris, question. I don't know how much you see that in the online space because mostly you are an online entrepreneur. What I've seen a lot in the past is entrepreneurs saying, "Oh, I don't want that, mindset BS. Tell me, the hardcore strategies, lead generation and sales and growth and all of that." So, do you see that very often with people in your network before you educate them?
Good question. I see it a lot. I don't see it with my people because, generally speaking, when you're first starting out, when you're in your first few years, that is exactly what people focus on. And honestly, oh God, dare I say it, that's what you should be focusing on, because the mindset piece, although it is important and it would be hugely beneficial for those in their first few years, isn't as important as when you're further on, as when you're in your when you've got a team that's relying on you, you've got the pressures of family, of being a mother or father as well, when you've got where the stakes are higher. At the lower levels, under 100,000 a year, give or take, really you do need to know about lead generation. You do need to know about marketing. You do need to know about sales. You need to be able to be comfortable in those, doing those things. Absolutely right. It's when to look at mindset is essentially, and in fact, I had a call recently with somebody who was asked to work with me, and by the end of the call, we said, absolutely yes, but not yet. It's not the right time for her. And the reason is because right now she's making tremendous progress. She's doing so beautifully well. And she's not feeling any resistance. There's nothing coming up for her. There's nothing in her way. And so to have someone look at mindset then is potentially going to cause a problem rather than solving one. Because what you're doing there is you're creating so much for the mind to think about, and kind of this upheaval, if you like, of the way they think, the way they feel, at the wrong time. The correct time to be reaching out to someone like me is when you start to feel that resistance. Start to feel it, not when it's got so bad you're getting burnout every couple of months or sooner. But when you're starting to feel that resistance, when, generally people use force of will first, willpower, that tends to last 2 to 3 weeks. Then it kind of starts to fade, depending on how much pressure you're putting on that. After a while, you learn to motivate yourself and get motivated and get that external drive, and it pushes you, and you learn to force yourself to get stuff done, and that's good, that's fine. If that carries on for too long, what you do is you get people going into burnout, where they have pushed themselves so much now that they can't relax. There's no turning off point, because if they turn off, they're afraid that everything's going to fall over, everything's going to break. And sometimes they actually paint themselves into a situation that is the case, that they've made themselves the single point of failure in the entire business. And when they stop selling, the business starts going down. And, there are different signs and symptoms of this, but one of the most accurate would be if the leader of the business isn't selling, there is no income. If the leader of the business isn't doing some critical piece, then there's no income. And when I see, just the last piece, what I see a lot is that someone would do very, very well, and when they reach this kind of maximum level of their mindset, when they reach their maximum level, they'll start to self-sabotage. They'll start to, these unconscious patterns will start coming through. They'll start to stop making offers, even though they know exactly how to do it, what to do, and who to do it with. That's what I mean. You start with the marketing and knowing what to do. And then when you reach the point where you know what to do, you're just not doing it, that's when you need to be looking at mindset. Because, like I say, when somebody's at 6 and 7 figures, I don't need to convince them or demonstrate to them how important mindset is. If they've reached 6 and 7 figures, then they already know, generally.
No, you've painted a really, really nice picture of what both you and I see with a lot of people who come to you, come to me when we have coaching calls. It's really that point where, things start to break, and hopefully before they start falling apart. Now, from this picture, I mean, I'm sure you and I probably have different ways how we help our clients. So today is the interview with you. And I'm really eager to learn, and hopefully that can be beneficial to people who are watching this or who will be watching this, to see what kind of path they can go on. And then, of course, if all of this resonates with them, they can easily reach out to you and have a chat with you and potentially work with you.
Okay.
But, just how do you start that process, and what are some of the things that you work with them in the early stages?
Beautiful. And it's not even the early stages, it's a lot of the process. It slightly differs depending on what kind of program they're joining. If it's one-to-one, then it can be completely bespoke, exactly what that individual needs at exactly the right time. If it's group, then I'll tend to go in order of the 4 that I focus on. The first one of the 4, basically I have something called RISE. So the R is about your rituals, your daily rituals, your daily habits, the structures that create a feeling of safety in yourself, a feeling of certainty. And the reason why we focus on that first, that doing element, is, first of all, that's what most entrepreneurs do naturally. They're very doers. They're very doing all the time. They're doing. So I focus on that because that's where the focus already is. That's where their attention already is. So we just make that better. What that does is that creates a level of stability and safety that we can go into the other areas. And we can go into areas where it might be uncertain, that they haven't done before. And they don't have any kind of subconscious sabotage comes up. So the first stage is rituals. The next one is identity. Once we've covered the rituals, you then go into, your identity, because when people make New Year's resolutions, most often they fail. And the reason why I believe they fail is down to that people are trying to use willpower. an external drive to move themselves forward. And as I've said previously, willpower's got a shelf life. It doesn't last forever. Likewise with external motivation, it's only as good when you're getting it. And you've got to always keep it above the pressure. It doesn't work long term. It's not a long-term fix. So it's got to come from internally. So then we focus on identity, because you'll always do what you are, always. So if your beliefs and your values are aligned, then it just becomes part of who you are. It's like it's like showing up doing content, or showing up online, or showing up for your team becomes a part of who you are. And when it's a part of who you are, it doesn't take any effort. It doesn't take any push. You don't need to push to do it, because it's who you are. So that's the identity piece. The next one, we go into somatics. And this is one that I think is starting to gain traction, especially in personal development. This somatic clearing and somatic healing, somatic energy. And it's really, what it really means is somos of the body. Most people, I would venture to say, actually, rather than just entrepreneurs, but most people have become so connected with external to them, or they've become very strong thinkers, or they've become so spiritual that very few of them are in their present body. They're not fully connected with their body. And there's a great book called The Body Keeps Score. It's a wonderful book. And it basically talks about one of the books on it. It talks about how the nervous system and how the body will hold on to past trauma and hold on to past lessons that's been given. And then you see those same lessons and trauma played out without the person being even consciously aware of it. This is where you find people saying, I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. I know I should be doing it, but every time I try, it's like someone's put the brakes on. It's like, and I just don't know how. I don't know what it is that I need to push through this thing. And so we cover that. So rituals, identity, somatics, and the last one is energy. And the energy is really about bringing it all together. So we've got doing, thinking, feeling, and now we've got the energetic of it. Feeling into the energy, bringing it all together, and allowing that kind of alignment of what you want to be doing and the structure around it, creating the space to be creative, the space to be your version of you. Because that's the other thing. A lot of mindset coaches and the like, what they're really selling is, here's the best way to make you like me. And that doesn't work, because no amount of programs will ever make you like the coach.
That's PR. Like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Putting a story out there just for the likability, that's marketing PR. So yeah, I fully agree with you.
Absolutely. And it's this mentality of making them the best them. And the best way that I've found is not to say this is the way, but just to say this is my way. And this is a few other ways that you could also do it. Anytime I coach someone, I say, this is what's worked for me, and here's some other things. Let's try and test what works for you, so that you can see you can see the route that you need to go in. Because there's this kind of sausage factory mentality when it comes to personal development these days, where everyone's getting told, "Oh, just have a method and push people through it, and then scale that method." And although that's good, depending on how thorough the method is and how well they qualify people coming in and out, you'll always have people who fall through the net or have percentage results. This one got 80% result, this one got 70, 60, 90, and it's all different, because the individual themselves is being forced into the shape, as opposed to having something that's made for them, that they can say, oh, okay, so I like this bit, and the way I'm going to interpret that and create this is this way. And that's why I do the group program as well, even though it's through these 4 pillars, this RISE method. Every step is still, let's see what works for you. Let's see what's the best for you. Some people like a lot of structure. just with rituals, let's say. They like a lot of structure. They need to know, and they love to know when they're doing, what they're doing, how they're doing it. They love that. Other people are these natural, big, creative thinkers, and they hate the detail. They hate having that structure. In fact, the structure stifles the creativity. It doesn't create more.
Yeah.
And so in the ritual, pillar, one of the lessons is how to kind of gauge this and how to make this your own, if you like, and how to go, okay, well, let's find your balance, what works for you. And also how to adapt it as you grow, because as you grow, you might actually want more structure or less.
No, just to jump in super quickly. I look at it from the same perspective. I hate blueprint because blueprint is like copy paste and you do exactly the same thing. So what I always do with my clients and what I'm always telling them to be mindful when they're looking to work with other people as well is get the frameworks, but then you have to create your own blueprint. The frameworks are timeless, but blueprint, you really have to create your own, and you have to test a lot of things to see what really works for you, what doesn't. You have to be reflective, you have to be mindful, and at the end of the day, you need to create your own blueprint. I do like your approach very much. Chris, if we go to the beginning of your RISE method, to the R, to the rituals, I like that. And it's actually one of the things that I do first with my clients as well. We go through the daily stuff and make sure that we attack a few things. And like you said, in the beginning, people need a little bit more of that structure. So are there any, tips, tricks, advice, easy activities, something that you are willing to share with the audience, something that they can take and apply? Because I agree. It starts with putting a little bit of that into place before you can move on to the next step.
Absolutely. Well, the biggest thing that I'd like to share is why. I mean, you've got doing, thinking, feeling, then flowing. The last one is about getting into flow state and being able to how to tap into that flow state anytime you want. So that's the good stuff. That's the bit that people try and rush to. Without doing this, they try to rush to learn the secret hacks and the one quick tool that will get them there. Profitable business, just like mindset, it's kind of the boring stuff, the basic fundamentals that takes people the furthest, is what I've noticed personally. So although flow state is absolutely incredible once you're able to tap into that as and when you need it, the rituals create the foundation of it. The rituals create the daily habits that give you a sense of certainty and safety. And I guess if I'm giving one piece, it would be never underestimate the importance of safety and certainty to your unconscious mind, because where people get very, very busy and they try and get as much done as they can, they push. And, personal development trying to convince them that you have to be comfortable with discomfort and, you have to really go for it, really push the envelope, really create a massive, scary dream, have a massive, big why. Actually, I've seen many times that becomes counterproductive. Because if the person doesn't feel safe in themselves, they don't have that level of self-trust and that level of self-belief, then when they create this big why and it actually becomes real, it's this possible thing that they could potentially have and be, that scares the what's it's out of them, and both first subconsciously and then eventually it'll be conscious. But this need for certainty, if it's not there, if that feeling of safety isn't there, you're simply not going to get any further. You're just not. You'll reach a point of your brain's maximum allowance of danger. It just won't let you push further. It just won't. And if it does, if you do manage to push further, you're more than likely going to burn out. This is where people repeatedly burn out. It's because their identity and their feeling of safety is being kind of thrown away and repressed so often that the unconscious mind and the subconscious mind they are slightly different, have to kind of step in. And it's this mentality of where your subconscious is basically saying, well, if you're not going to look after your safety, I'm going to have to take matters into my own hands, and I'm going to have to figure out a way to stop you. And this is where we get people with anxiety. This is where we have, and they're like, I get anxious. I don't know why. It's an irrational fear, and things that are not intellectual. Like they've done the intellectual learning. They know they're under no more danger. They know that if they show up on camera, let's say as an example, they're not in danger. And they've done these programs that have and these affirmations, and they're repeating it to their conscious mind again and again and again. And all they're really doing is repressing the subconscious feeling of danger. And unless that sense of safety is nurtured, and it is nurturing, unless it's nurtured, it will always do what's necessary to keep you safe. Always. Does that answer the question?
No. Yes, it does. I just thought that you're keep on going, but yeah, it does. It absolutely does. So to our audience, I mean, of course, if they see themselves in everything that you've talked so far, and they can recognize that they might be at that crossroad, and that they don't know how to go to the next step alone, and they need some new perspective, some fresh perspective, somebody to help them, to guide them to that next step. Of course, I'm sure the best thing is to just reach out to you and have a chat with you. But would you recommend maybe an exercise, something that they can do after they watch this interview or tomorrow, just to maybe be a bit more clearer where they are, and maybe have an understanding why they're not moving forward?
Okay. The best way to know if you are currently being driven by fear is look at the behaviors. Because 9 times out of 10, a person who has a fear will essentially create the thing they're afraid of. The subconscious logic is, if I create the thing I'm afraid of, well, then I'll have some semblance of control over it, right? So, someone who is afraid their partner's going to leave them will create a gap, a space in the intimacy. Now, of course, that space in the intimacy, like I say, your fear will create the situation. So that space that they've created out of fear will more than likely damage the relationship in some way. And it may actually lead to them losing that person. A person not making offers because they're afraid they're not good enough. And they don't deserve that level of wealth, will not make offers. They won't make as many offers. They won't make offers to qualified people. They won't make offers with confidence. And so they'll create the situation that they're afraid of, because they won't get any money because they're not making the offers. So what I suggest, part one would be, I actually had this with somebody today who's actually just signed up. And this particular person avoided making schedules. And because they wouldn't make schedules, they got very overwhelmed, and they didn't get everything they needed done. And then they felt very, their confidence took a hit, and they felt not like a failure, but they felt like they just weren't meeting the certain levels they should be. And anytime they created schedules, they just, couldn't bring themselves to do it. This is the subconscious problem. What I would say, so first of all, look at yourself, really look at yourself, and without judgment, just like a police investigator, look at the behaviors that you are currently doing day to day and ask yourself, is this a behavior that's driven by fear or by growth? is this something that's going to make me better and fulfilling me and filling me up? Or is this something that my mind has created to simply keep me safe? And if it's to keep you safe, that means that that's the part that you need to work on. You need to gain that level of safety back. Okay. Let's see. If you are, last one, I guess, would be if you've got to the point where you're just inactive, like you want to go live, but you're just not hitting that button. Breath is one of the fastest ways. Now, this is more getting into somatics, but why not? Being able to slow your breathing down. And there's lots of different methods on this. You can get box breathing, you can get the old diaphragm, stomach breathing rather than chest, and there's a variety of ways you can do it. For the people who don't quite know much about any of that, just breathe. And as you breathe, just be in your body. Focus on your feet, your legs, knees, thighs. Just bring all your mind. I'm going very fast through this, but you can do this very, very slowly in your own time. Focus on each individual body part. As you're breathing the slow breaths. Yeah. You can feel that relaxation in your breath. And what that will do is bringing your mind completely in touch with your body and allowing your body to bring you into the present moment. If you are suffering any kind of fear, then your body's, you're not in your present. You're thinking of the future. If you've got anxiety, again, you're in the future. If you've got any kind of fears, doubts, worries, you're in the future, because you in this present moment are perfectly fine. You are under no threat whatsoever. And it really is about allowing yourself to practice and learn to remind yourself, not convince yourself, not trying to tell yourself off, but just allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to become aware that you are safe. That right now you're completely safe. There's nothing actually hurting you in this moment. Yeah. So if you feel anxious, it's because you're creating it. If you feel like there's a threat, you're creating it. And that's one of the great things when you get really good at somatics, when you do the whole part of that, is this ability to just be in the present moment. And even if it's a negative emotion that you're feeling, even if it's fear, shame, humiliation, sadness, you're able to be present with that emotion rather than trying to hold it back, rather than trying to force it down and push on and put on a brave face. So no, I'm feeling, well, right now I'm actually feeling perfectly happy and quite comfortable. But when I do this exercise, if I am feeling a negative emotion, as everybody does, I will simply just be with the emotion. And if it's sadness, I'll say, okay, well, that means there's some kind of failure or loss that my mind is and my body is connecting with here. So, okay, just allow myself to feel that and allow my body and allow my mind to guide me to it. And the more you do this, the greater the trust in yourself gets. And the greater the trust in yourself gets, the greater your inherent feeling of safety. And when you have complete safety in yourself and that belief in yourself, it's really not a lot that bothers you.
No, I couldn't agree more with everything you said. And I love especially this breathing exercise. I think it was a lovely exercise. And yeah, I welcome everybody watching this to do it slowly. And
oh
to
yeah,
do it
that was
fully.
way too fast. What I just did. Breathing exercise will always be in through the nose, out through the mouth, but you're not blowing. You're not like this. You're like you're getting into a nice warm bath. Just like that. If it's for relaxation, there's different kinds of breathing for different things, but if it's for relaxation and relaxing that fear response, it's a that's it. And just bring your mind and your awareness to your feet, ankles, legs, knees, nice and slowly through your body, and just pick out different areas and be really aware. What does that feel like? How does that feel? Okay, not wanting to change it, not wanting to force it in any way, just how does it feel? By doing that, and then check back in with the anxiety that you had before, you can always guarantee it will be gone or massively depleted.
Perfect. One thing that I loved about your rise technique, and I mean, we are running out of time, but it's one of my very favorite topics, the energy. Is there like, just something quickly you could,
Oh
expand
god,
on what
that's
you already said? I know,
yeah,
it's a
that's flow
huge
state.
topic.
That's the energetics of it. I don't particularly go in the spiritual energy of it. I'm very practical with every single bit I do. When I talk about the energetics, what I'm talking about is to create an alignment, pardon me, that's so strong of, like I say, it brings together all of the doing, the thinking, the feeling, so it becomes flowing. So it becomes this allowing this energy to flow through you. The ability to understand that love, money, they're all energies, and this is not to get to woo about it, but allowing the mentality of abundance and the acceptance of total abundance to just allow money to flow through you and flow to you, and not be afraid of it going out the other side, and just being okay, just opening the door wider and bringing more money in and more love and more connection and more belonging. So yeah, by the time it's the last one on my list for a reason. Because there's a lot that needs to be in place for that. Because another element of that is to be able to get into flow state. It's not all about just this alignment of abundance or abundance of alignment, could be, but it's about being able to get into flow state, and that's this ability of. I think most people watching this would understand what flow state means, but just in case, it's this time when you are doing something and you lose track of time because you're just doing it, you love it, you're in this wonderful place, and you lose track of time, and you're just going, you're just flowing. It seems to be coming from nowhere. You're inspired. There is an ability to turn that on whenever you want it, which is kind of cool. And it only really needs a couple of things to be in place. It only needs that sense of safety. It needs the sense of self-belief. It needs the sense of it needs a challenge, but not too high, not too low. It needs that Goldilocks level challenge. It's a challenge of skills. So it's not boring, but it's not going to stress you out either. It's that nice little in-between space. And maybe a couple of other pieces, but those are the main pieces. Self-belief and challenge and capability, of which most people have the capability they need. They just need that self-belief, that trust element, especially entrepreneurs, I think, because entrepreneurs are a special breed that
Yes.
I personally believe, I'm not sure how this is going to be received, but we'll see. Unless the person has grown up in an entrepreneurial environment, in a healthy entrepreneurial environment, almost every single entrepreneur I have met has come from a background in trauma, has come from a place where they were neglected or hurt, or their agency, their ability to decide who they were as a human being was taken away from them. They were betrayed or neglected by a parent or parental figure. And because of that, we now have this desire, this inbuilt desire to matter more. And it starts off, I was one of them. It does start off this need to overcompensate, to come from this mentality of I don't matter. Well, now I need to matter to the whole world. And now the whole world, it's not enough to leave a legacy. You need to leave a legend. I'm one of them. But now I leave a legend on my own terms, without the need for trauma to drive me. And it's this ability to understand that a lot of our drive and a lot of our abilities as especially coaches, a lot of our powers as healers comes from this earlier pain, this earlier trauma, or whatever it was. A person who, it's like evolution, a person who develops a sense of knowing what someone's thinking accurately, knowing what they're going to do and what makes them tick, will very often be someone who needed that skill as a protection mechanism. Someone who is able to comfort and console somebody better than anybody else. They know exactly what they need to just relax them and make them feel loved. It's more than likely someone who never got it and had to learn step by step how to feel that. And in learning how to feel it, now wants to make sure nobody else goes without it. Very often, especially you can see it in a lot of coaches, if you really dig in, you'll see that a lot of coaches will be doing the work that they wish they had someone to do that for them when they were younger. Someone who never felt understood, or then help other people understand themselves.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that.
That was mine.
Yeah. Chris, super quickly, because we ran out of time. So super quickly, what's the best way for people to find you, reach out to your website, LinkedIn, Facebook? Like, what's your preferred method?
Oh God, I think I'm most active on Facebook and Instagram. You can go to atomicgrowth.co.uk, although that I'm still rebuilding that. But let's see, Facebook would be the best one. Not my page. Go to my profile. It's more personal. Chris, I think it's chris.richard01. Chris.richard01 is my URL of my profile. Or Instagram is Chris_Richards_official. And I will obviously share all of those links with you to put into the comments and information bars and things like that.
Perfect. Well, I mean, honestly, you can just, after the show, you can go into the comment, drop the link.
There you go. I'll just do that.
Yeah. And then because most of the views are going to be tomorrow and the day after that. So that's when most of the people view this replays. So yeah, just visit the YouTube channel, drop your link, LinkedIn on the post, drop your link, and that's that. It's the same post as you already commented yesterday. So yeah.
Yes.
Well, Chris, this was lovely. I mean, I wish we would have more time, but yeah, it is what it is. It's lovely chatting with you. I resonate with so much of what you say. I believe in so much of the same things. So yeah, this was a really lovely conversation. It was lovely listening to you explain things, give value along the way. And maybe if you will be up for it, we can do part 2 somewhere in the future.
Sure. We'll see what the audience demands of us.
Yes.
Always love to give value, and it's my absolute pleasure. So thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, well, Chris, thank you. All the best. I really appreciate you for who you are and what you do. And yeah, see you soon. Take care.
Thanks. See you soon.
Okay, lovely people. So this was Chris. Yeah, well, you know me already. You know that I often talk about all of these topics. So you already know that everything that Chris said really resonated with me. I hope it resonated with all of you as well. Chris is an amazing guy. We've been connected for a while now. We share some friends. I'm friends with some of his clients, so I do know that he really does a good job. I strongly recommend, if all of this resonated with you, reach out to him, have a chat with him, and I'm sure you won't regret it. The rest, next Monday, another LinkedIn Live interview. We'll be here same time with another amazing guest. And yeah, I just wish everybody happy Monday. I hope everybody is happy and safe and healthy wherever you are in the world. Again, a lot of craziness going on, but it's on us, entrepreneur, to make this world a better place. So everybody stay safe and see you next Monday. Bye.